And welcome to Community Kitchen. It's middle of the year. It's amazing, isn't it, how quickly time flies. Everyone's been worrying about tax time, no doubt, and things like that. But the weather's good, and we've got some nice food to talk about today. As we do each month, we're going to be talking with Alex Clark, who's the SBS Feast editor. And it's Bastille Day on Sunday, the 14th of July. So we're going to be talking a little bit about French food and, of course, other little goodies. And a little bit later, we're going to be talking to Ian from Lyra. And it's a company that supplies vinegars and verjuices. And you've heard about verjuice, and of course, you know vinegars. But we're just going to talk to him about some of the products. Apparently, he's probably the only real official degreed vinegar maker in Australia, so we'll learn about that. I think he got his degree in Austria. So isn't it lovely to find these people from the Ballindine area? And speaking to them yesterday, I think they had the big chill over there, which of course you always associate with Stanthorpe. We've got some great other little items. A little later on in the morning, I'm going to be sharing a courgette and bacon soup, or zucchini and bacon soup. Now, a lot of people have sort of two minds about zucchini. I think it's a fantastic vegetable. It's just a little bit like Brussels sprouts. You can't overcook it, but you can use it for so many things. So I'll share that with you, because sometimes we forget about soups just being something wonderful, like a potato and bacon, a little bit of sour cream and all those yummy things. But right now, I think we might just go to our song, and we'll come back with our first guest, Alex Clark from SBS. And you're back, and we're back. I thought that just having a little trouble connecting with Alex at the moment, so I thought I'd share the recipe for the, I'll say courgette. I mean, it is Bastille Day this weekend, but it's a zucchini and bacon soup. And very simple, looks fantastic. So you're just frying off 6 rashers of bacon that have been finely chopped. Put them aside, because they will actually top your soup after it's cooked. You fry off 2 onions and 2 cloves of garlic. Of course, they've been chopped. Add 2 litres of chicken stock, a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, 4 potatoes that have been peeled and chopped, 6 zucchinis chopped, and bring it to the boil, and then drop it down to a gentle simmer. And let that simmer for about 10 minutes. Puree the soup. Some people don't have a blender or a little stick blender or anything like that. What I do, and I guess it's being lazy, but I don't get out all the gear and have to put the blender on the bench, I sometimes get my masher and just really give that a good mash, and get my whisk and whisk that together. It may not be as fine and creamy, but it still gives a fantastic consistency. So if you don't have a blender, whether it be the fixed sort or a stick blender, really it's quite a reasonable thing to do. Puree the soup with a half a cup of sour cream and a half a cup of finely grated parmesan. Once that's all sort of nice and warm, just top it with your bacon and serve. So very, very simple. 6 rashers of bacon that have been cooked, put that aside. Add 2 onions and 2 cloves of garlic, 2 litres of chicken stock, a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, 4 potatoes peeled and chopped, 6 zucchinis. Bring it to the boil, drop the heat and simmer for 10 minutes. Puree that soup with a half a cup of sour cream and a half a cup of finely grated parmesan, and serve with the bacon on top. Beautiful and warm, nice, and some nice crusty buns beside that would be fantastic. And really, in the wintertime, nothing nicer than having a soup for dinner, and that gives you the great opportunity to serve something like a really nice simple pudding. Sometimes we forget about the simple things. Creamy rice with some nice stewed fruit on the side. There's so many beautiful strawberries at the moment, and they take such a little time to stew. It doesn't take much, just a little bit of water and sugar in the pan, maybe a squeeze of lemon juice, throw your strawberries in, and you can buy seconds too, which is amazing. So it doesn't have to be the pick of the crop when you're doing your puree fruits. I think it's one of those things that's a great way to just to think about the ways to cut some costs in that kitchen, because everyone's thinking about that. I think that's a beautiful idea for a family meal. Go to our song, we'll try and hook up with Alex Clark. And welcome back. Just going to fill a little bit of time in. We're still having a little problem connecting with Alex, but that's okay because we always have lots of information. There's a fantastic book out, Eat With Your Hands, Sushi for Children. And it's interesting, isn't it, that you wouldn't have thought that children would have loved sushi, but it's one of those very popular things. And Hideo Dikura is recognised by the media and food industry as an expert on all aspects of Japanese cuisine. He's a culinary consultant, a food stylist and author with a focus on recipe development. He gives demonstration lectures and classes in traditional Japanese cuisine. And sushi is such a healthy, delicious thing to eat and great fun for little hands. And so the inspiration for his book was his 5-year-old daughter, and delighted when she followed him around the kitchen asking questions and helping him to cook. So he decided to encourage children to learn sushi making basics. It's a photographic book aimed at children 7 years and over. It tells them how to make common nori rolls and sushi bowls and hand-moulded sushi, plus recipes for soups, snacks and desserts. I think it's fantastic. It even includes tips on throwing a sushi-making party, complete with sushi birthday cake. Don't know about that. I think kids always like that little sweetie. So Eat With Your Hands will keep youngsters happy and occupied for hours. I think it's a wonderful thing because a lot of the lunchbox things you look at now, they have little rice rolls and sushi, and it's amazing to think that so many places you go to now, sushi's become such a fantastic cuisine. It's so simple, it's so healthy, and it's so delicious. And once again, I think it really showcases just the simplicity of some of the tastes they put in there. And I think on that, I'll start chatting about some of the features this week with the SBS, in case we don't get to talk to Alex. But she's featured Galashay, of course, and he's had a restaurant in Paddington for so many years. And looking through at all the different recipes featured there, the one thing that comes across to me out of the French cuisine is their total respect for their produce and their simplicity. They may just have just the most simple rabbit or chicken, just cooked gently in such a nice stock and serve it with a gentle sauce. For many years, of course, French cuisine was so popular, and then, of course, we talked about having too much cream and we're having too much butter, and we had so many different cuisines introduced to Australia. The Thai and, as I said before, the Japanese cuisine really hit, but I think that French food's always had that beautiful simplicity about it and the lovely tastes, and I think it's worth a read. I think it's just beautiful. And of course, we have learnt that a little bit of cream doesn't hurt you after all. They featured this article about donuts, and I can remember being in Melbourne one time, and there's a particular bus in one of the marketplaces, and all they sell is a jam-filled donut, and it's yeast-based. The lineups were amazing, and I must confess I went up and bought some and then hopped at the bottom of the line and went back again because I seriously hadn't tasted anything that was just so delicious. And when it's hot and yummy, I just don't realise how nice those things are somewhat. At times we just forget the simple things that, donuts are a little cuisine unto themselves, and yet we seem to ignore them, probably because they become massive. Of all the fast food goodies seem to be such a big size, and a lot of us don't want to eat that. It just should be a nice little sweet tidbit. Talking about rice, and I think it's amazing the amount of people who have trouble with some of the simple things like poaching an egg or cooking rice. A lot of us have got rice cookers and things like that. Myself, I use an absorption method because I think it's always the easiest. Never been one to be a great microwave cooker, but seem to have that absorption thing down pat. The 1 cup of rice to 2 cups of water never seems to fail. Interesting enough, but reading in a magazine, the Koreans have a new model, a Korean brand called Cuckoo, and it allows users to connect their rice cooker to a computer for network cooking, so recipes and instructions can be stored onto the machine for easy use. Who could have thought the humble bowl of rice could require such high-tech equipment? That's incredible, isn't it? When it's such a staple for so many cultures, and now we've got it hooked up to the internet. But I guess if you're at home and you push for time, you can sort of program your little recipes in. I really do think we would starve, because half the time I can't even get the computer working if it's. I like things just to work nice and simple. So maybe one of those rice cookers is not for me, but for a lot of you younger people out there who love technology, have a little bit of Google of that and see what it's all about. I think it's a fantastic idea. So it's a Korean brand called Cuckoo, and a rice cooker that you can connect to your computer. How fantastic is that? Now, we've had a history book on our coffee book at home. My husband's been reading this book about Norfolk Island, and it's such an amazing place. It is just incredible, and they've done a feature this month in Feast, and what I loved about it, I think, was the fact that we all talk about, paddock to plate and sustainable and things like that, and the one article that they seem to come up with in this mag is that it's so fashionable now to be all about paddock to plate and fresh seasonal produce, but that's just what Norfolk is and always has been, because it's such an isolated area, and if you have read history, it's had some terrible things happen there, but to think that this beautiful clean island now, a place that a lot of people love to venture to, has that fantastic simplicity of their food, and the history has brought some interesting tastes there. So I think they have food tours, and most people do. When you go to different countries, seem to have so many different food tours, and I think it's always a nice thing. So just a thought, have a look at it, because Norfolk Island, of course, seems to be such a beautiful place. And as I've mentioned regularly, you don't have to buy these magazines, you don't have to buy cookbooks. Go over to your library. They've always got some the local latest releases. I notice the library that I go to always has some magazines, and of course the Caboolture Library is just absolutely beautiful. If you haven't had a chance to go in there, it's just got so much light and air, and the books are just absolutely beautiful, so it's worthwhile going and have a little look. So hop over there and have a look at the latest magazines. You'll be quite surprised. I think we might go to our sponsors. And welcome back to Community Kitchen. We have our next guest online. Good morning, Ian. How are you?
Good morning. Great day to be alive.
I hesitated to introduce your company because I want you to tell me the correct pronunciation.
It's pronounced lira, the same as the old Italian currency.
I thought it might
but
have.
with a silent H on the end.
Beautiful. I thought that, but I thought I would let you do that.
It's actually a mix of our family name. My son is Liam, and I'm Ian, so it's Liam, Ian, Robin, Anna Henderson.
I love the fact in reading about your mission here, we aim to make the ingredients a success. I think that's nice, isn't it?
Well, see, we're vinegar makers. I'm formerly a winemaker. When I made a bottle of wine, if you liked it and you were prepared to give me the money for it, that was basically the end of the relationship. When you buy a bottle of vinegar, you've got to take it home and get some vegetables and some pork and some chicken and some oil and stuff, and you have to assemble something. So I'm no longer the end ingredient, I'm just part of your solution. It's a whole different way of relating with my customers.
Well, enhancing, I mean, a great balsamic can just enhance a salad so beautifully, can't it?
Look, vinegar, we like to tell people using vinegar is like putting a magnifying glass on your food. I mean, when you make food more acidic, you release new aromas and new flavours. So a bit of acid will bring out flavours, but if the flavours are bad, it'll bring those out as well. So you want to use the best vinegar you can afford, really, but that should be for every ingredient you use. I
think that's right. Now, tell us what verjuice is. We've all heard about it, and everyone sort of has used it over time, but what is verjuice?
Well, see, the first thing about verjuice is it isn't vinegar. That's the most important thing. It's unfermented grape juice. But we pick the grapes when they're still rock hard on the vine. So they're really hard, very acidic, obviously. We pick them pretty much first week of the year. Squeeze the juice out, filter it, and put it in the bottle. That's it. So it's not fermented, it's not alcoholic, it's not vinegar, it's just grape juice, but it's very acidic. So just think of it as soft and gentle vinegar.
There's so many types of vinegar, and this is a hard one. I mean, I do a bit of preserving, so you're using all different types of vinegars in your preserving, and it's quite interesting the different effects that can have on your produce.
Look, vinegar has three main components to it. So there's the acid component, there's which you get in all vinegars, plain white vinegar, you get that anyway, so we don't even talk about it, that's just the obvious. But then there's either a sweetness component, which balsamic's always sweet, but it's not the only sweet vinegar, and then there's the flavour component. So the flavour could come from apples or figs or fruit or different qualities of red wine or whatever was used. So if you're using it for the acid, you get the acid anyway. Pick your vinegars on the flavour. That's the key. So what am I cooking? What will go with it? Do I want to add some apple flavour or fig flavour or lemongrass flavour, or do I want to keep it fairly simple? Am I happy to use something black and toffee and nutty? Think of the flavour. Don't think of the acid.
Oh, it's interesting because you do so many different types of things, like you've done. Just going on the website here, you've got caramelised apple balsamic. That must be absolutely beautiful.
There is 4 kilos of apples in every litre of that product. So for me to make caramelised apple balsamic, we start with apple juice, which we ferment into apple cider. Then the apple cider is fermented into apple vinegar, and then it goes into the barrel, and then a year later it comes out from the barrel. We add more apple juice to it. It goes back into the barrel, and then after a year or two it'll come back out of the apple barrel again. We'll add more apple juice to it again, and then reduce it down to about half its volume. So it's about layering the flavour of apple in.
That's beautiful. Caramelised lemongrass, that would just be beautiful.
Again, exactly the same problem, except we start with Chardonnay grape juice, and that becomes wine, becomes vinegar into the barrel out, and then we actually add real lemongrass to it to actually get the lemongrass flavour.
That would just be beautiful.
Look, everybody thinks of vinegar and salad. Salad's so obvious, again, we don't even mention it. We talk about other places. Like we put lemongrass balsamic into mashed potato and make a lemongrass mash. Or we put it on oysters or straight on your steamed or grilled fish. Anywhere you think of it as a lemongrass flavoured sauce, really, not as a vinegar.
Well, I really love to put balsamic on my strawberries because it just does some beautiful things to it.
When you get really good with strawberries and balsamic, as you know, the balsamic, that little bit of acid. I mean, vinegar, like everything, if you use too much, you've ruined the dish.
Sure.
Vinegar should be anonymous. You can taste its effect, but you can't taste the actual product itself. Same as salt. Salt is a very powerful ingredient, as you know, but if it starts to taste salty, you've used too much. When you do your strawberries and balsamic, try putting strawberries, balsamic, salt, and pepper on your strawberries.
Oh, okay.
But again, it shouldn't taste like salt or pepper or balsamic. It just tastes like this fabulous spicy strawberry.
We're going to be trying these. You're coming to the Food for Thought tent at Farm Fantastic, and we've got a strawberry supplier, local guy, bringing his strawberries along, which is just going to be fantastic because we'll be able to have a little play with these tastes, which I think is just fantastic. Just looking at, you've done, I pulled a simple recipe off the net, and you've used a sweet Cabernet vinegar, raw beetroots, green beans, roasted walnuts, feta cheese, salt, pepper, and virgin olive oil. It's a beautiful combination, isn't it?
The colour, if you see the picture on the website, it's the bright white of the feta and the beetroot and the bright green beans. It's the most visually stunning salad that we make. And we eat with our eyes, don't we?
Oh, of course we do.
Certainly eat with your eyes is the entree, and then eat with and then you eat with your palate.
I think it's fantastic. Now, when I was talking about you earlier, saying that you were telling me yesterday that you're an official vinegar maker, or how does it work?
Yeah, official vinegar maker. That's great. I've never been called an official vinegar maker before.
Are. Yeah,
we're certainly professional vinegar makers. I studied. I won a scholarship to study vinegar making in Europe in 2006. So I actually had the privilege of studying at the Austrian Chamber of Agriculture, which is actually part of the University of Graz. To do a vinegar making course there, and then I got to spend 8 weeks doing a bit of work experience. So I worked in Modena making balsamic in a couple of houses, and then I actually got to make sherry vinegar in Spain as well. So I still think I'm the only person in Australia who has tertiary qualifications in vinegar making, so I'm a big fish in a small pond. Vinegar consumes us. It's everything to me and my company and my staff. We love vinegar. We love cooking with it. We love the product, our customers, our suppliers. We will talk to people who want to learn more about vinegar all day if we can. It's such an underrated product in Australia. The consumption of vinegar in Europe is 4 times the consumption here in Australia. So we've clearly got some room to grow here, and we want people to stop using plain white vinegar for cooking. It's a fabulous cleaning chemical, and you should be using it to clean your stainless steel in your kitchen, which is brilliant. But it's flavourless. Let's use some stuff with flavour. It's like putting water in your soup. What's the point?
I think that's very funny. But, I mean, for years and years, that's all our mothers had. I can remember Mum used to make she'd put a little bit of vinegar and she'd put a little bit of mustard in there and she'd pour that over the salad. And that was the cuisine many, many years ago.
Yeah. But how many things... Well, coffee didn't exist 30 years ago, and pasta was something pretty basic, and... whereas olive oil, that was non-existent in the Australian culinary scene 30 years ago. Cheese there was only 2 types of cheese, 20 years ago. Vinegar is that next great thing. Once we learn to use it properly, then go use it. And again, the key to using vinegar is use a little bit, but use it all the time. The same as use salt. A little bit, but use it all the time.
You were saying about different cuisines. I mean, look at the Chinese use a lot of vinegars. The Japanese use a lot of vinegars.
The European diet is a very acidic diet, and it may not even be vinegar as such. I mean, a lot of diets use lemon juice and pickled fish and things as their source of acidity. But generally, the modern Western diet is very sweet, which is a shame because sweet actually hides flavours. Acids actually bring flavours out.
Now, you're in a perfect region for apples and, just over in the Stanthorpe area. It's just fantastic, isn't it?
We love where we live. It's a gorgeous day here today. It really is. It's about 15 degrees outside, not a breath of wind, beautiful clear skies. There'd be hundreds of people out pruning apple trees and grapevines today. Very cold at night. I think it was -3 overnight, but, it's beautiful during the day. We love where we live. We wouldn't live anywhere else.
I was over there probably in August last year, and I must say it was so sad to see that some of the effects that you'd had from the weather, and it takes a long time for a farm to recover, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think most of Queensland, most of Australia's had some pretty bad weather in the last few years. It's my uncle always sums it up very well. He's a sheep farmer, actually. He always calls it the privilege of being a primary producer.
Ah.
He goes, if you start to think of it anything other than a privilege, it'll send you mad. We love farming, but it's getting to be hard work. Farmers aren't in as much control of the cost they can sell their products for anymore. Their input costs are going up. The restrictions on who, what, and when, and chemicals they can use. It's getting quite difficult to be a farmer. And then you get that random weather effect, which smacks you down. But farmers always keep getting up. It's an amazing breed of people.
We breed cattle and grow cattle, so I know what you're talking about. You seem to put a lot of money in and you get little return, but to be able to walk out in the paddock sometimes, and it's just, you actually have that beautiful pleasure, which I think...
We keep on coming back for some reason. I think it's that passion. It's... if you take a farmer off the land, you take him away from his life, really, not his livelihood.
Tell me this now, when you're actually, you were saying before that vinegars are something that you don't always have to associate with a salad, but, making that perfect salad dressing can be a bit tricky. If someone was going to be using, say, one of your balsamic dressings, what would you suggest? Well,
the secret to salad dressing is there's always 4 ingredients. There's a sugar, a salt, an acid, and a fat. Now, the sugar can be sugar, but why don't you use honey or ketchup mayonnaise or fresh fruit juice or something as your source of sweetness? Because then you get sweetness plus flavour.
That's right.
There's always a salt. Now, salt is there's some electrical chemistry that changes the flavours of food so you can release new flavours. You know that when you put salt on a steak, the steak changes flavour. But the salt doesn't have to be salt. Put anchovies in it. Put soy sauce in it, okay? There's always a fat, an oil, could be olive oil, but try almond oil, walnut oil, some of those beautiful citrus and fruit-infused oils. You get the oil, but you'll get yet another flavour. And lastly, there's an acid. It doesn't have to be vinegar. It could be lemon juice or lime juice or verjuice. But if you're going to use a vinegar, pick a flavour. I'm doing something that I would like to get more of a red wine flavour or more of a fruity sweet flavour, or maybe I want something a bit nutty and toffee. I've got roast vegetables or things in my salad. So it's always sugar, salt, acid, fat. And I've just given you, 20 ingredients, I suppose, all up. You can put those together in 400 different ways and make 400 different salads, all with the same ingredients. Just keep mixing them up. I've been guilty of going around grocery stores looking at people's shopping trolleys and telling them to take pre-made salad dressings out because you're smarter than that. You know what you like.
Yes.
You've got olive oil and vinegar and soy sauce and anchovies, all those things in your cupboard. And one lady once told me, says, I buy it pre-made because it has shelf life. Honey and vinegar and oil stuff, they only have a shelf life when you put them together. They're perfectly shelf-stable in your cupboard, and you get to choose what dressing you want today. It's not that hard. We still have the same Vegemite jar that my wife and I had, we must have got it just after we were married, and we mix our own salad, same jar, oil, salt, whatever goes into the jar, shake it up on the salad, the jar goes into the dishwasher, and then clean goes back in the cupboard. It's made thousands of litres of salad dressing, I think, that jar, but you can do it yourself. It's really not that hard.
And verjuice, how should people be using verjuice?
Oh, yeah, think of it, it's not vinegar, but think of it as soft and sweet vinegar. I look at my dish and go, it needs a bit of acid. I'd like to put some flavour in, but I don't want to overdo the acid. That's when I go for verjuice. So we put a few drops on steamed vegetables or a few drops on roast vegetables. Verjuice is not as strong an acid as vinegar, so anywhere I use olive oil, I'll use vinegar, and typically anywhere I use butter, I'll use verjuice. So it's not as oily, so therefore I want something not as acidic. So anywhere I put butter on steamed vegetables or on anything, I'll always put just a little bit of verjuice. It breaks the acid, breaks the butter oiliness down, and brings a vibrancy back to your dish.
I think that's an excellent way to break it down, because a lot of the times people get confused about products, and yet, as you say, they can make just such an incredible difference to a dish.
A dish is only as good as the sum of its parts, isn't it?
Well, I hope I run into you in the supermarket one day, because you can add some advice. I think those sort of things are fantastic when someone shares an idea with you. And, we've become so fragmented over the years that people are actually frightened to even say hello anymore. Yeah,
I think that's what we're hoping to get most out of the Food for Thought tent at Farm Fantastic is come and talk to us about vinegar. Let's just change the way you think about vinegar. Vinegar doesn't have to taste horrible, and we can give you hundreds of different ways to incorporate vinegar into your normal food without making your cuisine taste like a pickle. It's a fabulous product we work with. We love it. It's so diverse and so interesting. The trouble is getting us to stop talking about it sometimes.
I think it's fantastic. It's a real passion for you.
Oh, we love it. Love everything about it.
Well, we look forward to meeting you at Farm Fantastic, and thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thanks. Have a great morning.
Bye. And we've been talking to Ian from Lyra. And isn't it great when you get that really basic idea on a product like butter with verjuice, oil with vinegar? And I love that sort of little makeup you've got of their dressings, a sugar, a fat, a salt and an acid. As he says, play around a little bit. And, of course, they will be at Farm Fantastic, and they're going to be one of our market stall holders. And we're going to be using some of their products in our cooking demos. I think it's just, it's getting there. It's only a couple of weeks to go now, 19th, 20th and 21st of July, and it's cooking and cooking and cooking. So we look forward to that. We're with a song. Be back shortly. I thought it was excellent talking with Ian. Doesn't it make it nice and simple? Lucy was just saying about this salad dressing. Great combination. You just remember your sugar, your fat, your salt and your acid. I think that's a nice way to do it. And really, have a little try, because there's so many ways that you can use the different vinegars, and of course we'll be having demonstrations about that at farm. Our cooking comps finally come to the end, so the winners will be notified this week, and of course we'll be doing the finals at the Farm Fantastic at the Food for Thought 10 in the afternoon, 3 o'clock each afternoon, and the winners, of course, the good guys at Morayfield are going to some great prizes for the kitchen. I think that is just so generous. It's great. It sort of gets people more motivated to get back in there and do a little bit of cooking. It's what we're all about, is cooking and eating, and I think it's just great. Don't forget to give that little soup a go. It's not too hard, and even for those people who don't eat vegetables, they wouldn't even know that those zucchinis are in there somewhere. I think you'd be surprised sometimes. They say it takes children up to 9 times to try something, but you just have to keep presenting it and presenting it. And I know grown men who don't eat vegetables, maybe they take a little bit longer. Guys are always a little bit slower to take instruction from us females, but I think you can always slip some of those greens in the veggies, in the dishes, because they don't know, and they taste absolutely fantastic. Thank you for joining me. I'll be back next week, our last week before Farm Fantastic, and we're going to be talking to Lisa Curry next week. She's introducing her KISS program, which is Keep It Simple, Sweetheart, and she's going to join us at Farm Fantastic. So we'll be talking to Lisa next week, and she's been travelling around Australia with her program, so I'm sure she's got some great stories to tell. Thanks for listening. Be with you next week.